Hey everybody, Professor Z here. Today I'm going to show you a quick tutorial on how to take just an audio podcast and add some visual pizzazz to it, I guess you can call it, just so it's something visually that you could upload to YouTube instead of just having it on your podcast feed or whatever you have it on. So if you want to put something on YouTube, you don't have a video for it, you could always add something that has a visual moving effect to it very simply. So to do this, I am using Adobe After Effects today, and the first thing I'm going to do after opening it, I'm just going to click on New Composition and give it a name. I'm just going to leave it Comp 2 for right now. Down here, the only things to change, make sure you're in 1080. You can be in 4K if you want. 1080 is probably good enough for what we're going to do today. There's a drop-down menu of all the different presets you can choose from. Your duration is the only other thing to look at. Now, I set mine based on the length of my audio file that I'm going to use, and that's what I recommend. Look at the audio file first, set your duration to that audio file, and it'll save you some steps later on. You can always come back into the settings and change it later, but it's just easier if you do it up front. And click OK. Now that I've created that, I have in my projects folder Comp 1, and now I'm going to I'm just going to drag in my audio file, and I'm also going to drag it down here below here because I need to be in the work area in my my timeline area. And now that I have that set up, I am going to go to Layer, New, Solid. So Layer, New, Solid. Again, you can name this. For this example, I'm not going to bother naming it right now. Don't worry about the color. Just make sure it's the same dimensions as your project, which it is. And I'm going to click OK. Now that that is done, and that is what is selected down here in my composition, I go to Effects, Generate. I'm going to do an audio spectrum, which creates this kind of dotted line right here, which is great so far. Now I need to get to the effects controls for this. So on my editor, I'm going to hit the two arrows here to bring me to my effects controls. If you don't see that, you can always go to Window, and down here you see there's my effects controls for dark gray solid. And the first thing under audio layer, I want to click this drop down and select podcast demo. Now we can see it already started doing something different here. And if I scrub through here, you can see the audio changing a little bit. I'm not going to play right now because this is processor intensive. So your fan on your computer is going to rev up a little bit. We're going to adjust some settings here now. So start frequency, this is your low end, high end. There's 64 bands. I'm going to make this like 200 bands. That changes how many visual bands you see here in your area. So you can see as I scrub through this, how it changes. But I also want to make it taller because it's very short. So let's just make this like 1,000. See, that makes it bigger. You know what? Let's go even bigger. Well, if I do like 4,000. There we go. Now we're starting to, yeah, look at that. You can see as I play through, and these are adjustments. You know, after you get your first initial settings, go back and adjust this. You can make those lines thicker, or thicker or thinner if you want to. Maybe I'll just do 5. You can also adjust the softness of it, and of course we can change the color. So maybe the inside color, I want it to be, I'm going to make it like bright. I want really bright. There we go, like bright green. And you can change your outside color as well to be something different. So maybe, I don't know. We'll do that for now. Now this little clock face here, you can turn this dial and you'll see it's going to change how it interprets those colors based on what you want. So you can make a rainbow if you really wanted to. Undo that. I'm going to leave it for green for right now. You can see as I scrub through here now, we're starting to get different colors there. And then there's also display options. Right now I have it in digital. You can also make it analog lines, like an actual waveform there. You can also do analog dots, which kind of does this little thing here. You can also have, you see there's a side A, side B. Side A would just be the top part of the line, like that. Or side B would conversely be the bottom part of the line. Right now we're just doing side A and B. So if I come back here, I'm going to play this for a little bit.
Hello, this is Keith Strayovi with the Student Profile. Recently, I sat down with Angela.
So there is the beginning of it. Now I can also move this around. This is not static in the middle here. I have handled. I can move this around. I can even, stretch out this a little bit if I want to make it fill up the whole screen. There's even more features that I'm not going to get into this video that you can do with it. So this is the beginning of it. I'm going to position it here. And now that we have this here, because this has the audio, it looks cool, we can also add some text. I'm just going to click on the text box up here. I'm going to put in her name, and now I can go back to my move tool here, and I can always adjust the size of that. Be careful with it in After Effects, though. It goes kind of crazy. Maybe if I had a picture, I could put their picture in here as well. Maybe a better title. Maybe I'll also, down here go by Professor. Oops, I can type. Really, I can. So I could do the graphics in here, or I could, just export the audio file and bring it into Premiere, but we haven't gotten there yet. So very simply, I've gone in here and I've made a little waveform. I put a title in there and put my title in there. Again, I could bring more elements to that. I could even make those titles do funny things too in After Effects if I want to. But very simply, now I have, let's go back to my effects controls here. For my gray solid, I'm going to do just side A, and we're going to do analog and see what that looks like. I'm going to bring this down a little bit.
Hello, this is Keith Strayovi with the Student.
That looks pretty cool. Now, make sure you always do a little save as. So we haven't saved this yet. So I'm going to go ahead and navigate to my hard drive where I have a created folder for this already. And I'm going to create. So there's my composition, so I can always come back and edit it later. To bring this up to YouTube, I just go File, and then Export, Add to Adobe Media Encoder Queue. So it might take a moment to get it here. Don't stress out, it'll get there eventually. So now here is our file. It's already set up. I'm just going to make sure it's going in the right spot. Maybe give it a proper name this time. So your settings are already set based on your project file. Leave it like that. Just make sure you're saving it in the right place and give it a name. And you go ahead and hit the play button on top right to actually export it. And here it is. Here is the video. So there's my video file. It's all set to upload to YouTube, and you're done.